So we have a little under 30 minutes left, and I just want to remind people, as I always would around this time, that if you enjoyed today's program and you happen to be in Austin, then come on down to Threadgills on Riverside Drive. After the show, we'll be there around 6:30, and come on, have some good food, and meet with our our crew and us and our enormous studio audience today. Hey guys.
No kidding. We got 15 people here sitting in front of us, so we're thrilled to have them.
We appear to have full lines, but we do not have any call screening information about them. So I might as well go ahead and bring up a story, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
There's this group called Repent Amarillo that's been in the news a bit lately.
And this has got a military theme too, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay.
Since the election of Barack Obama as president, radical fundamentalist Christian groups have sprung up like weeds in an ignored vacant lot. Militia groups have too, and for times, hold on. Militia groups have too, and more times than not, they mesh together and become almost indistinguishable from one another. Fundamentalist Christianity is at the root of the most virulent and potentially violent groups forming and recruiting today. Repent Amarillo is one such organization brought out of the shadows and into the news, mostly because of their outright harassment of Amarillo's citizenry. They are nothing more than wannabe brown shirts. Okay, this is not a very objective article right here.
Yeah.
The reason, I would like to state for the record that I have actually emailed Repent Amarillo to see if they would like to call into the show. They haven't responded yet.
Okay.
And they're probably flooded with people who would like to talk to them right now, since they have been in the news so much.
Well, controversy is something that does a good job.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah.
They've also been called the Texas Taliban. And basically, have you read much about these guys?
No, not too much.
I believe what they're doing is they're going around.
There's
There's a video on YouTube that I saw at PZ Meyer's site where they go and hang out at a swingers club.
Oh boy!
Outside a swingers club with like a bullhorn, and they shove cameras in people's faces. And I guess those people don't always want to appear on camera.
Well, that sounds like some of the tactics some local folks used to use not too many years ago here in Austin. For in front of movie houses and that sort of thing.
Right.
So they got a kind of a military-looking.
Yeah, and what I heard recently is that one of them is like a security guard in a nuclear facility, which is a little bit disturbing.
So this is not real military. This is fake military, right?
Well, I mean, it's a militia group, but. Let's see. Okay, here. This might be a better story. At first, the swinger community was mystified by the attention. On the 60-some hours of surveillance footage the Meads have, a swinger can be heard telling a Repent member that the swingers haven't done anything to bother them. "You're going to hell, and it bothers me," Grisham responds. "What bothers me is you're going to hell." Perhaps the most insidious tactic Repent uses is trying to destroy the reputation of the swingers. In Amarillo, people can be ostracized over a whiff of impropriety. On one tape, Grisham directs followers to get the license plate numbers in the Route 66 parking lot. "A new couple can be here 3 or 4 hours, says Mac. "Whenever they leave, the Repent Amarillo group will call them by first and last name, know where they live, know where they work, just within a very few hours."
Oh, that's fun.
That's, especially creepy in light of the recent, abortion killings and stuff. I mean, I would not put it past these people to be violent, especially, with the militia background.
Oh, it says they're also going after churches that they believe to be insufficiently Christian.
Oh, of course.
I always find that entertaining. It's like we're not Christian.
My God's bigger than your God.
Right. I remember that happened with the Bush administration.
That includes, by the way, Episcopalians, Christian Scientists, Unitarians. Speaking of which, wasn't Bush an Episcopalian?
I think he was Methodist, but
I don't know.
Anyway,
sure.
but there were some hyper Christian groups going after Bush for not being Christian enough. being rabid enough, which I thought was pretty amusing.
Okay.
You got anything more? Or you want to go back to
no, I'm
calls?
going to go back to calls unless
Okay.
you've got anything
No,
more to say about that. It looks like we might have a silly one. Ed in Austin, hello. And
Hey, how
my
you guys
fingers
doing?
on the trigger. Hello?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What
Good.
you got for us?
All right. Hey, you know, the Bible teaches in the Old Testament that the Jews were the ones who had built the Egyptian pyramids, and I've been told by a couple of people that there was no proof to actually indicate that there were ever even Jews in Egypt to do that. I've wondered, can y'all comment on that? Do y'all know the same?
There are.
Yeah, I
I
see
don't
what
know the
you're saying.
details. There are books on the subject. I think it was claimed that the Jews were among the pyramid builders in the Bible. I think that was the original claim that they were. Anyway, but
Right. I'm not sure of the answer to your question. I know I've heard that there's not good evidence to indicate that some nomadic tribe was wandering that particular area of the desert for 40 years.
Right.
But when it comes to historical stuff that underlies the background of the Old Testament, I would probably go check out Jews, God, and History by Max Dimont, D-I-M-O-N-T. He's Jewish, so I'm not sure that he's a completely objective source, but he does have a really good take on separating the history from the cultural stories.
Given how close the two countries are together, it's not impossible to think that they may have wandered in there. But
Well,
it's just,
yeah, is the modern Israel like anywhere? I mean, is it in the same physical location as the historical Israel?
I believe so.
We're not Bible people.
Bible people.
Call back when Matt's on.
Yeah, there's a there. It's my understanding that the Egyptians kept very good records of their their successes and failures and these sorts of things, and that these records are still available to us. It's not perfect, of course, but if there was such an event like the Exodus, like the Bible, the historical records would reflect that, and they simply don't. So that's one issue.
I think there were some recently, like the last month or two, there were some recent archaeological findings where they had uncovered these mass graves that were actually like pretty much at the footsteps at some of these pyramids, indicating that the people who had built the pyramids, were very special. It's just because the Egyptians weren't going to have just Joe Blow off the street buried near their holy sites like that.
Well,
I don't know if you've heard that.
I don't know.
too.
I mean, the pyramids were built over 60, 70 years, and this was very, very hard work by people working out in the sun with no water. I think that they all drank, alcohol because that was the only thing that was safe to drink. So it wasn't an easy life for those folks. I understand that a lot of those folks were pretty skilled, so they might have been somewhat revered. As far as burials, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of burial chambers and things in and around the pyramids. I mean, the pyramids themselves are a burial chamber, right, for the kings.
Right.